The air was cold and still as I walked home from my late shift at the diner. As I cut through the empty park, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. I quickened my pace, but the eerie feeling only grew stronger. Suddenly, I heard a rustling in the bushes behind me. I turned around, but there was nothing there. I turned back and continued walking, trying to shake off the creepy feeling. But then I heard it again, louder this time. And then I saw it, a pair of glowing eyes staring at me from the darkness. I froze in fear, not knowing what to do. The eyes began to move closer, and I could make out the silhouette of a figure. It was tall and thin, with long, spindly fingers. I knew I had to run, but my feet wouldn't move. I was rooted to the spot, petrified with fear. The figure emerged from the shadows and revealed itself to be a grotesque monster with a wide, toothless mouth and gnarled skin. I let out a blood-curdling scream and finally found the strength to run. I sprinted as fast as I could, not looking back until I had reached the safety of my home. I locked the door behind me, still shaking with fear. I knew that the monster was still out there, waiting for its next victim. And I couldn't shake the feeling that it would be back for me. I tried to tell myself that it was just my imagination playing tricks on me, but I couldn't shake the feeling that the monster was real. I remembered the way it had looked at me, with its glowing eyes and toothless mouth. I spent the rest of the night huddled in my bed, too scared to even close my eyes in case the monster came back. Every little noise made me jump, and I was sure I could feel it lurking outside my window. As the sun began to rise, I finally mustered the courage to peek outside. There was no sign of the monster, but I knew it was out there, waiting for me. I realized then that I couldn't go back to the park, not at night and not alone. I would have to find a new route home, one that didn't take me through the darkness of the park. But even as I made that decision, I couldn't shake the feeling that the monster was still out there, watching and waiting for me. I tried to put the incident behind me, but I couldn't shake the memory of the monster's glowing eyes and gnarled skin. Every night, I would lay in bed, listening for any sign of movement outside my window. As the days passed, I became more and more paranoid. I stopped going out at night altogether, and even avoided the park during the day. But no matter what I did, I couldn't escape the feeling that the monster was still out there, watching me. I knew I had to find a way to confront my fear and defeat the monster once and for all. So, with trembling hands and a racing heart, I gathered my courage and set out into the park at night. I walked slowly, listening for any sign of the monster. And then I heard it, the rustling in the bushes, the faint sound of breathing. I turned to face the monster, ready to fight for my life. But as I looked into its glowing eyes, I saw something that I never could have expected. The monster wasn't there to hurt me, it was just as scared as I was. We stood there for what felt like an eternity, staring at each other in silence. And then, as if by some unspoken agreement, we both turned and walked away. I never saw the monster again, but I knew that it was out there, somewhere in the darkness of the park. And as I walked home that night, I couldn't help but wonder, was I the monster, or was it me? I walked home that night with a newfound understanding of the monster. It wasn't a real creature at all, it was my fear of change, manifesting itself in a twisted, grotesque form. I realized that I had let my fear control me, dictating where I went and what I did. I had let it turn me into a prisoner in my own life. But I also knew that I couldn't let it win. I had to find a way to confront my fear and take back control. So, the next time I walked through the park at night, I did it with purpose. I didn't let my fear dictate my actions, and I didn't run from the monster. And as I faced it down, I saw that it had lost its power over me. It was just a shadow, a figment of my imagination. I walked away from the park that night with a newfound sense of strength and purpose. I had faced my fear and come out on top, and I knew that I could do it again and again. From then on, I lived my life on my own terms, no longer held back by my fear of change. And the monster was nothing more than a distant memory.